Hey, peacemakers. It's your girl, Dawn Stone, also known as the Conflict Chick. Look, I hear you. I've been listening to you, and I thank you. I'm here in my office. I decided it's time to do this a little more regularly. So, what I will do is every Monday, it's about motivation, right? And with motivation comes the need to express where people are. So I get an opportunity to deal with people from all walks of life. I get an opportunity to deal with people in other countries. I get an opportunity to help people through some of their most interesting moments at work, right? And from that, I want to be able to share with you the tools that I've used over the last, I hate to admit it, over the last 34 years to be the best version of myself in that moment. Now, did I always win? Absolutely not. Was I always the most cooperative employee? Absolutely not. There were some times and some opportunities where I needed to learn some lessons, and that's why I'm here with you today. So today, I'm just going to get set up here, and I'm actually going to take you on a walk through what I am doing with a few clients as we speak, one in the States and one in Africa. And so what we found is whenever you're in these spaces, you're dealing with people. And whenever we're dealing with people, people really have their own set of opportunities, issues, challenges, whatever you want to call it. But there is a call for us to do really two big things. Number one is understand the landscape, or what some people like to say, read the room. Number two is the ability to regulate ourselves. Because without self regulation, everything that I want to share today can go right out the window or in one ear and out the other. So, today, I'm going to take you on a little journey in a very familiar place for a lot of leaders today. So I primarily work with HR individuals, whether they are chief impact diversity officers, chief people officers, directors of human resources, solopreneurs, small business owners, executive directors. So people that have the power of the people. Okay. And with that power of the people comes a lot of sometimes angst, sometimes conflict, a little undercurrent of drudge, if you will. And I want to walk with you through today two things that can make your life a whole lot easier, and also just giving you some tips. So let me get myself up. And so today it's really about navigating, and I'm using an example from a client, so you'll see me kind of look to the side. In fact, let me just pull it here. Navigating workplace conflict with me. All right. So what happens is understanding, I want you to understand what conflict is. A lot of times we don't know how to get to a good place when we're in conflict at work, and it impacts our productivity, it impacts our mindset, it impacts our attitude, and actually sometimes people, it will impact your health. So I'm here to keep you healthy and health forward so you can understand that you are not in this alone. Everything that I'm talking about today, I've gone through at least a dozen times in my career. Promise you. And some stuff I'm like, okay, I got the lesson. Can we move on? So today I'm going to talk to you about conflict itself. So in understanding the nature of conflict, conflict is what we call a distraction or a disruption. So that's disruption of what your normal state is, what your normal thoughts are, what your normal practices are, what your beliefs and values are. So anything or anyone who comes in contact with a value, a belief, an action, a thought, or even something you physically do, a personality that's different from theirs, there's conflict. And so conflict alone is not something that is detrimental, but when left untamed, it can become terribly hurtful. I was trying to find a better word. Hurtful, harmful. Okay. So There are two tools I'm going to share. I share these books a lot. The Anatomy of Peace, that's just important for you to just have your whole mind together. And as you can see, I keep all types of tabs in here. The Conflict Resolution Tool Box. They've got multiple versions of it. Gary Furlong did a very good job. I'm going to take you through two of them today. One is going to really be about how we really begin to have this journey of self-regulation when we are in conflict. Because what happens in the workplace, you may be in conflict with someone right now. As soon as they walk into the room, what happens to your attitude? What happens to your body language? I'm noted for my eye rolls. Okay, been an eye roller since high school, honey. I used to be a neck roller too, but I had to kind of get rid of that once I hit the workplace. And they were like, Dawn, that's not going to work. That's pouting. I was like, it's not pouting to me. That's how I am. And I was like, well, Dawn, it can be adjusted. So in self-regulation, we're going to actually walk you through the dynamics of a conflict first, and then use the book to show you two tools that we will share. All right. So there are different types of conflict in the workplace. There are some that impact your physical abilities, your mental abilities, your emotional state, and sometimes your bank account. I'm going to say it. Your bank account can be impacted by someone's unwillingness to deal with the conflict. Okay. So we as leaders, if you are a people leader in here, it's really important for you to lean in and take notes. If you need to stop the video, stop it, because I'm going to drop some nuggets here. And in the notes below, you'll be able to go to my website, contact me, do whatever you need to do to save your organization, to save yourself. I'm going to say the first person we have to save is you. Next person you have to save is your organization. Okay? So here we go. A lot of conflicts start with what we call in the workplace misunderstandings, misrepresentation of information and people, and just sometimes just straight up mistakes. Maybe you were hired in a position that maybe you're not that great at, and the person you may have conflict with is someone who does it better than you. Or you may find yourself in a conflict with someone in a different department that refuses to give you what you need to do your job. Right? A lot of this conflict comes from what we call past rivalries and personalities. Those are the two most often root causes of conflict in the workforce. So I want you to think about the person. Who is it in your job right now that you have the most difficulty getting along with or even liking? Put that person's name in a box or a circle. All right, we're going to come back to it. All right. So our first tool today, I'm not going to keep you long. I'm all about short gems, short nuggets. All right. So the circle of conflict. Let me start with that one. So the circle of conflict really comes when we truly understand what makes me tick. What are the things that are most important to me? Why is it that I even care? I'm going to show you in the book. And this is literally on page 54, chapter 4. See that circle right there? See that circle? All right. So I'm going to talk to it briefly. And I do have another video in here that talks about the circle of the circle of conflict as it relates to what happened with the Harvard resignation of the president. So if you want to go grab that video, go look at it. It breaks it all the way down. But really, your circle is you and how you view things and view other people, how you view yourself in the workplace. So think about the things that drive your value, all right? Things that drive the relationships you have in work and outside of work, the relationship you have with yourself. Then you have to go into what we call the external mood drivers, the emotions and the moods. If that person walks into the office right now, what is your immediate response? Do you get a pit in your stomach? Do your nostrils flare up a bit? Do your eyes begin to roll? Those are indications that you have some internal conflict that needs to be resolved. So I'm going to share with you some ways that you can do that. It's going to be piecemeal. I'll do it a little bit at a time because this stuff is heavy. Then you have what's called structure drivers. Structure drivers is your organization. What type of organization are you in? Are you in a very organized space where you have clear roles and responsibilities? Everyone knows what they're doing and do exactly what's supposed to take place? If your answer is yes, consider yourself lucky because most organizations, regardless of the size, are not that great. Okay? What we do is we have people we bring in, we have great intentions, and then a lot of times we don't have a way to ensure people are successful. That's the challenge that we have. And I know my HR executives and my people leaders all know it. You're like, yes, yes, here, here, hands and toes in the air, because that is the biggest challenge. I have been in the space of human resources and understanding basically people since 1991. Yeah, I'm old. Yeah. But what I have learned is no organization has the perfect model. So, what we have to do as an individual is understand it's our role to get us to a place where we can move and function and work without a problem or without cause to cause a problem. That's a whole another thing. And so, then data drivers, how is your performance? Are you showing the work on time? Are you taking longer on the weekends to do work that should be done at home? All of that creates conflict. And that conflict can be harmful to you long term. It impacts you emotionally, physically, spiritually, socially, psychologically, and financially. So we're going to get a handle on it beginning this year. This year is going to be our year of peacemaking. You notice I come in here and call everyone peace builders and peacemakers because that's what we are doing, building the places and the society that we want to be a part of. I will not stop until I die. 1 million people will get this training. So that is the goal. In fact, like, subscribe, and share this video. We want people to be able to be happy at work, be happy at home, be happy in that relationship, be happy within yourself, and a lot of that comes with understanding what's driving you. So the last part of the driver, this data structure, external factors in mood, relationships, and your values all make up who you are and how you view conflict in general. So regardless if it's in the workplace or at home, even with a pet, these things drive you in a certain and real way. So what does it look like? What does it look like? I just don't know. If you are a person who is struggling with finding a way to connect to your employees or finding a way to connect to that employee or that direct report who has your eyes rolling and your blood boiling, I want you to create that circle. Write down the factors in those areas that are impacting you. What values do you hold that make this person seem like they're such an adversary or a foe in your mind? What is it at work that you're not happy with that causes you to feel this way when you walk in on a Monday morning? Monday morning is my favorite day of the week. Why? It's the beginning. It's a rebirth. So what can we rebirth today? So I want to share the second tool with you quickly before we get out of here. And I break these down more in my newsletters and in my other posts. You can follow me on all the socials below. Don't worry, you'll see it again. So I'm real specific about what I do. Conflict Chick shows conflict, okay? We're going to fix this one conversation at a time. We're going to fix it one person at a time. So the second thing I want to share with you, the second tool we want to talk about, and we'll be talking about these two all week, is the triangle of satisfaction. So I want you to think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, okay? So it's kind of like that because at the very bottom, that bottom layer of it, I'll have to show it to you. There it is. Do, 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 do. Okay. So that is on page 76. And it's really more than 76. It's actually chapter 5. So what we find with our triangle of satisfaction is the bottom level is our psychological safety. What's going to make me psychologically safe? What's going to make me understand that when I come into work, I'm safe at work? What's going to have me saying the things in the office and in the meetings that people need to hear that I won't get, retaliation or blowback or funny looks from other people? What is it about us hiding our truths? So the way that the triangle of satisfaction works, I want to show you kind of how it starts. Okay. So with the triangle itself, there are three things. You got to focus on what it is you want and what we call the shuttle democracy. All right. So in the triangle, there are three things in play. It's your emotion. There it is again. Your EQ and your emotional intelligence. Your emotional quotient and your emotional intelligence are by far one of your biggest things to focus on. Because with the influx of things like this technology and then the pandemic, we've lost a lot of our connectivity and our connectedness. Connectedness is the human piece. Connectivity is me being able to talk to you through different modalities. Okay? Just hang in there with me. So then you have your process and the results. So the process is what you go through. That's the procedural day-to-day things, the actions you take to address the conflict within. Okay. And then the result is what the outcomes you want them to be. Oh, quick example, right? Bottom rung. It's my psychological thing. So in order for me to feel safe, I may throw up a what? A guard or a boundary. So when someone comes into my office, I may not look at them. It might be simple as eye contact. I'm not going to look at you because you want me to look at you. Get out of my office, walk away. All right. So that's the process or the action that I take, right? Because the result that I want is what? I want them worth from me. So when you think about this, and I want you to look at it from a not the what I call the victim or the angry lens, whatever word you're feeling today about that person that walks into the office. I want you to think about how do you want to become when you think about that person, or when that person walks into the room, or when that person's sitting in front of you, or when that person's having lunch with you, or when you're in a staff meeting, right? Those are the critical times when any one of us could come in as a stranger off the street and watch your body language and know exactly what's going on. So when you think about results, emotions, and the process, I want you to think about that triangle like this. What result do I want? That's at the very top. That's the pinnacle. So that's like your self-actualization. What is it that I want? What is it that I need to keep me on task, to keep me psychologically safe, and to keep me focused and happy? Shoot, connect to my joy. What is that I need? And then the second rung is how am I going to get there? All right? Because at the bottom, if you think about it as a water line, it is like the iceberg analogy. Some of you may have seen it. It's the Titanic seeing only the tip of the iceberg. All they see is what they want. But underneath the water is how they're going to get it. So the way that you act and react in situations, personally and professionally, impacts that waterline. How do we make the waterline come down? The results, how do we get the results? It's the process underneath. What are the things in the water that we need to address? Is it my own shame? Is it my own competitiveness? Is it my own abandonment? Is it my own goody two-shoe people pleaser? See, these are different things that are in you. So when we talk about self-regulation, that's where we start. We must be regulated in our own self and our own actions so we can get the result that we want, that iceberg sticking out of the water, so then we can lower the line and let people see our process so I can get to the psychological safety or the bottom of that iceberg that I want. I want that security. I want that confidence. I want that respect. I want that trust. Okay, so those are the two tools that we are going to be digging into every day this week. And what I'm doing is going to bring real situations that have happened in organizations. And we will use them as our case studies. And so in the notes, I want you to tell me, what would you do in this situation? So here's your hypothetical situation for today. You know, I get excited, get tongue-tied. All right, so let's say you have a workforce of 8 people, okay? All of them have their own role and responsibilities as outlined by the job description. However, we have a new hire that really would like some training or cross-training in all the different areas. When that employee attempts to set meetings with the other people on the team, the other people get super defensive and begin to kind of shun what the person is doing. Oh, and by the way, this person is merely an intern who will become a new hire in about 6 to 9 months. And all the people who have been here have done this work and done it that way forever. Surely they cannot take the time to teach this other person, which is what they told her. So, what the person decided to do was to watch from afar and become what's called a reflective observer. And as a reflective observer, they notice things because they constantly worked later and came in earlier to get a full picture of what everyone's role was in that team. So, let's say you are one of these other colleagues. How do you handle the conflict of not wanting to share your institutional knowledge with this new hire who's just trying to figure out her way through your organization? Yes, she's like 10 to 15 and sometimes 20 years younger than you. Yes, she comes as a ball of energy and may be a little too happy-go-lucky at times. What is it that you're willing to do? All right, that's a real scenario, okay? It really did happen to someone within the universe. It was me. So if you were me in that situation, what would you do if you were me trying to gather that information? And then part B, let's flip it. You were one of those employees in that organization who had been there 5, 10, 15 years, who's looking at this newly minted college graduate who seems to be taking everything like in ocean amounts. How would you handle it? All right, now I'm done for today. I've given you 2 tools. Think about what your conflict circle looks like, and then also think about your triangle. All right. Let me know what you know. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you've experienced. All right. We'll see you again tomorrow. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. That's the goal. And sometimes on Friday. All right. We'll see you soon. Don't forget, conflict resolution toolbox. And I need to give you this note from the anatomy of peace. Let me tell you this real quick. All right. So in solving conflict, a lot of times, here's some practical things that you can do. Number 1, share your techniques for listening and understanding the perspectives of others. Emphasize the importance of validating other people's feelings. Number 2, seek a common ground. There are things that you have in common with someone around you. It might just be the fact you work at the same company. Whatever it is, find some common ground. Because the sooner you can identify shared interests, the sooner that waterline comes down. So you'll be able to see the result and also see the process that it's going to take to help you get to where you're going. And then last, figure out your best way of communicating. We have email, we have face-to-face, we have phone calls, we have text messages, we have instant messenger, we have social media. We have all these many ways to communicate. Find out the best communication style for you and tell the other people about it, and then also find out what their preferred communication style is and talk about it. If you have a misstep, get in front of that person and say, hey, can we grab a coffee? Hey, can we grab a call? Hey, can we grab a Zoom? Walk it out. Because the more you know about the other person, the better you're able to resolve your own conflict, and they can do the same. And then lastly, when we think about the heart of conflict, and this comes from the book, The Anatomy of Peace. They've got a 4th edition. I want you to remember this. Focus on the people, not the objects. So you might be upset about a report. Focus on the person. There's a real human that made that report. So if they have an error in it and it just happens to be somebody who grates your nerves, don't go in with the aha. I knew you didn't have it all going. Yeah, no, don't do that. That's harmful to you as the person. Focus on your own contributions to the conflict. Sometimes you're waiting on the shoe to fall. Sometimes you're monitoring this person. Oh, look at them. They went to lunch 5 minutes early and left 20 minutes later. What? Don't do it. Painful. And it takes down your productivity and makes you really look bad. Because once you understand your role in the conflict, the entire perspective shifts. Why? Because the only person you can control, remember me saying self-regulation, is you. You are the only person that can regulate you. Period. 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 Full stop. If you're interested in learning how to be a more equitable, more loving, more inclusive, more aware person when it comes to conflict resolution and peace building, stay right here. I'm holding the space for all of us because every day I learn something new. Every day I fail in some way for somebody. And it's our time to learn these tools, practice them, and get it right. Okay? I have enjoyed you today. I hope I've said something that has been helpful. And I want you to like, subscribe, and follow. And I also want you to share with me what your real life situations are. I want to be able to resolve your conflict. I'll keep you confidential. Just like today, I used myself. That example from today was me between the ages of 19 and 22 years old. It was my whole experience in corporate America. I was 18 when I started, 19 when I was hired. And I stayed with that organization for 6 years. But I endured a lot. And so my goal is to help articulate ways to solve some of this without us all going crazy on each other, being disrespectful to each other, and really, really causing harm in the workplace and outside the workplace. Because some of that trauma follows each and every one of us home. I want you to have an amazing Monday. I hope you are truly motivated by something I shared. Grab the book. Go and listen to the other podcasts, listen to the other YouTube videos, head on over to LinkedIn, join the community. There are thousands of us in there working on ourselves and this thing called conflict every day. All right? I've enjoyed you. Have a wonderful day. And like I always say, be good to yourself first and to others. And it will turn it into a peace.